a short introduction, and then we can start having a conversation with him. Hi Shaheer, you have to send me a request.
Hello,
Hi, I can't see you. Oh, hi.
what's going on?
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. It's going good. So we'll start with your introduction,
Okay,
and we might take some questions, but later. I have some questions for you already, and we've discussed a little before, so we'll just go with that, and then we'll take
sounds good.
questions. Okay. So, people who don't know Shaheer, Shaheer Niazi is a 19-year-old student and a scientist. At 16, he found a way to photograph the movement of ions that form the honeycomb shape made when electronically charged particles try to pass through a pool of oil. The resulting shape is also known to scientists as rose window instability. His research was sparkled by his participation in the International Young Physicist Tournament in Russia in 2016 as one of the Pakistan's first participants. Niazi went to have a research published in Royal Open Science Journal and has the ambition of winning Nobel Prize for Pakistan in physics. So this is very impressive. But the thing is that like today we're talking about art and science, and I'm really interested in both of the overlapping of both interests. But the thing is that I think that I am only understanding the art side of it, and I fail to understand the science side of it. And I want you to guide us through the process in very simple words. Like what happened, what what is your practice in simple words?
Okay, so first of all, I'll just like go over the photographic aspect of what I did in my research. So उसमें ये था कि there is this method of photography basically, जिसमें you can visualize the density changes in any fluid medium. मतलब air हो गई किसी भी liquid medium में. So if you notice, like, what happens is that if any fluid medium is like hotter or colder, so usme there's a difference in how light behaves in that medium. Uski density basically decreases and increases. So light bends
Right.
more or less according to the temperature in that. So like putting aside whatever the actual research was, usme the method of photography, it's called Schleeren photography. It was by this German guy. I don't know if I'm doing the right
Yeah.
pronunciation or not, but it's also called shadowgraphy. So उसमें ये होता है कि you have a big
Photography.
uh, a concave mirror, and concave mirror में what I had as a concave mirror was my telescope's lens, its mirror. So I have a telescope. उसका मैंने like सारा mirror निकाला. It was a pretty painstaking job to open up my telescope and bring out the mirror, but I had to bring that out for the experiment. So when we put the concave mirror, उसमें what happens is that at its focal point, you have to put a light source, like a point light source. and you have to put the camera right under the light source. उसमें what happens is that since both the light and the camera are at the focal distance of the mirror, focal distance of the mirror is basically that if we send a light beam towards the mirror, then जब वो वापस आएगी तो it will converge at that point, which is called the focal point. So having the light and the camera both at the focal point, उससे the whole system has twice the focal length basically. So the light travels once, one focal distance, then it comes
Right.
back again. So वो दो दफा वो चक्कर काटता है basically. Now since it passes twice through everything, उसमें ये होता है कि since light refracts in the medium, in the air medium, which has a difference in temperature. So having it go through twice makes it refract two times basically. So वो basically amplify हो जाता है उसमें refraction. So when you take a picture of
Right.
that,
Okay.
so it actually can show you the visualization of how the hot air is passing through the fluid medium. So if you put your hand in the system,
Oh, I can't hear you.
hello,
I think I lost you.
I
Hello.
think I put my finger on the.
Huh. Put your hand
Yeah,
in the
so if you
system.
put your hand in the system,
Okay.
you can see the hot air coming off your hand. If you put a candle in the system in front of the mirror, you can see the plume of
Okay.
hot air coming out of the flame. So in my experiment, I kind of used that and implemented it into the electronic setup which I had. And usse I kind of caught a plume of hot air coming down from my equipment. And that was a kind of a proof of whatever was going on in that system. So yeah, was an interesting experiment. I actually first tested it out. There's a soldering iron, so you plug it in, वो गर्म हो जाती है. So I first
Okay.
put that under it, and I actually have a video of that on my
Yeah.
Instagram where you can see the hot air coming off the the soldering iron. इसके अलावा another photography technique which I used in my experiment was the thermal camera, and I actually have a thermal camera with me right now. So
Okay.
yeah,
We'll
so
put
I'll show
this.
you this later whenever you ask about it. But yeah, thermal photography plays a big role in science as you can visualize the temperature differences. आजकल भी अगर हम देखें तो कोरोना के लिए वो the temperature guns which are being used, they use the same principle of thermal imaging, just that उसमें नजर नहीं आता, वो सिर्फ रीडिंग लेके हमें बता देता है क्या टेम्परेचर है.
Yeah, temperature. Okay. So we'll.
Yeah, your original question, I think it was
So you continue talking about
your
the
original
thermal.
question was about how I think manage art and science together, right?
Yeah, we can come to that, but you can continue talking about the thermal camera, and then we can because I really want to talk about your interests in history and collection of things, so we can move towards that also. But because you've mentioned the use of thermal camera, so you can continue talking
Okay.
about it.
So I'll just start it as well. So this is a company, FLIR, FLIR. I don't know if there we go.
Okay.
So these guys make like the most popular
Yeah.
thermal cameras, and yes, they are used by the military as well. A comment in the section below. So if we see, I think we can see my face in it if it captures it. I don't know. So
Yes.
you can see that my
Okay.
face is
Yeah.
kind of wait. Oh, my hand is there. We go.
Ah, I get it. I get it. हाँ पता
Yeah.
चल रहा है.
So it basically has a thermal lens in front of it, and it has a normal camera as well. Now the thermal camera, the thermal part of it, what it does is that it has a filter on it, which only lets infrared light through. And niche, so how cameras work is that they have a sensor. So the light molecule, the photon, so what that does, it hits the sensor and it causes electricity to form basically. So वो एक signal बन जाता है and that's a pixel. So what this sensor does is that it only activates according to the infrared photons. So normal cameras, they only react to visible light.
Okay.
Visible light is the Sara, Hamara, green, red, and all the stuff we can see basically. And isme there is only the infrared light. So you can see that the face is pretty hot and the mouth is a bit colder. Baki dadi hai, and the bed is much colder than that. And where there's some more settings in this. Let me just
Okay. Okay.
change
I
the color in
get it.
this to
I
show
get
a
it.
bit better view. So
Because
this is like how we normally see thermal images.
yes.
I personally prefer the black and white wala.
Yes.
Magar this is this is pretty funny though even, but like ye acha hai. It's like good like this as well. So this is like another aspect of photography, and like thermal images are also pretty like interesting. जैसे हम if we can also use it for pretty interesting photo shoots. Like मैंने भी अपने दोस्तों को like इकट्ठा करके I did a thermal
Abstract.
photo shoot of them as well. It's pretty nice. This all stuff, yes. Do not ask me how much this cost. I will not answer you.
I might have an idea, but
Okay.
let's forget it. So, um, so you have like your interests are like other than science. I've gone through some of your stuff, and you are very interested in history, and you have a vast collection of gems and stones and coins. And how does that happen? Does it interest you through science, or it is something that you're interested otherwise?
Like coin collecting and all this, it started when I was I think 8 or 7. So what happened was that my father, he collected stuff before. Well, he's a pilot, so he collects coins from different countries he traveled to. So he just one day handed me this sock of coins. It was an old sock, pretty rough condition as well. And उसमें coins भरे हुए थे. And he was like, ये तुम ले लो, रख लो. And तब से I've been expanding the collection myself. And it also has to do with my interest in history. So so basically, I'll just start from all the way. So what happened was कि बचपन से like you know the books you read when you're a kid. So उसमें there were books on dinosaurs. Uh, there were books on astronomy. So you can say that the astronomy wali books led to the science wala part and the physics wala interest. But and the dinosaurs wali books, they led on to history books, encyclopedias, and then all my collections and stuff. So and like normally people think कि हाँ चलो ये बंदा scientist है, ये तो सिर्फ science ही करता होगा, ये nerd है and this and that. But if you see many scientists, then you see that they also have an interest in music, like myself as well. And
Yeah.
they're pretty like, you can say they have a lot of hobbies. And yeah, I guess that is how this all developed into. Also another thing that dinosaurs really जितना भी interest है, that always dies out when a kid goes to school and आगे university वगैरह. Yeah,
I
but
know.
it's like if you it's rare that it continues along. Because the field is also pretty, it's called paleontology, and the field is pretty dead as well in our country especially. And it's not much like you can say scope itna nahi hai uska. But I guess collecting in a way keeps all that alive, like all these stuff which was uh, more active, and you can say in the early 1900s and the late 1800s.
अच्छा, मेरा अगला सवाल यही था कि did you grow up with all these things? So I think I got my answer, because बचपन से आप उन चीज़ों को पढ़ रहे थे and आपको वो coin collection भी मिल गई. पर talking about your photography, your interest in photography techniques, um, you used various techniques to capture and in this process. But do you think that theory of photography plays a role, like having an understanding of the medium and understanding what has happened throughout the years and to read about it and the theory of photography. Do you think it stands somewhere for you or in this
Like,
practice?
I guess, like if we talk about my interest in photography solely, so my first camera was a normal, like with compact cameras, the normal ones. So I started with taking pictures of flowers. I guess everyone starts like that. अपने lawn में जाके pictures लेना and then since I had like some lenses lying around, what I used to try macro photography. So using the lenses to zoom into
Okay.
the smaller objects, to zoom into the flowers and stuff. So उसमें I could so I can see better details and stuff. Then after that, astronomy maybe photography का बहुत ज़्यादा role है. So there's this whole branch called astrophotography and photographing the night sky and जितनी भी deep sky objects हैं. So since I had an interest in astronomy as well, so naturally taking pictures of the night sky and trying to take pictures through the telescope, even though that is very hard to do. But so all this, like you can say, it made me kind of a bit experienced in how photography works. Theory of photography, I can say कि मैंने नहीं like इतनी उसमें I've not gone much into it because when it comes to science, I guess it's photography is also kind of a physical phenomena. Like I said, the photons come and उसमें electrons, everything produced होते हैं at the sensor.
Mm.
So to us, to scientists, it's like a sensory device basically. जैसे thermometer होता है उसी तरह there's a camera. So it's something with which we can
There's a
sense
camera.
something which we can detect something. So it's more of a device which can help us understand something better.
But generally, when you see in Pakistan photographers doing like other kinds of work, what do you think of that? Like, do you think it's very restricted? It's not blurring any boundaries? Do you think it's very bound towards concept and ideas, or even the way you said, kids, for you it's a tool, right? That is going to function. So, do you think in Pakistan, when you see other people using photography as art or as other ways, it's very much restricted? People are not thinking the way maybe you are thinking, or it's very bound, the medium itself.
I've never really like you can say I think judged others' photography in a way that oh they are not exploring it fully or they can do much more with it. And it's not like a competition between like how we use it as in science and how it's used in art. Like my sister, she's a
Hmm.
media studies student. I actually use her camera a lot, and she gets angry at me for doing that as well.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I did hear about her in the podcast, and I think she's been doing
Yeah,
some
she used to
amazing work
be like
also.
into physics and science before, but then she went more towards media studies. And I have a lot of friends who have their own photography pages as well. So there are a few who post pretty good art stuff. And their photography is also pretty amazing. And I actually get inspired by them a lot as well. क्योंकि मेरा जो page has the Treasures of Pakistan, where I post pictures of all the collections which I have. I try my best to like mix up different aesthetics and present the the photograph in a way in which it is pleasing. So you can say that I also use photography as an art, but as I was talking about like how the medium might be restricted, I'm not really sure about that.
Mm-hmm. So, do you remember that moment when you thought, okay, okay, this, these ideas or these interests or these mediums can overlap? Like, obviously, you're interested in, you know, a lot of things. How did you kind of like किस तरह से ये सारा रास्ता बना था कि from one point to another point to the third point, was leading you to this process. So what was that time, what was that moment when you thought ki acha these are two interests that can come together, because you were interested in a lot of things, so how did that happen?
So all my different interests, uh, in a way, like I have kept science and everything as something which I can go forward as a career in. And जो बाकी मेरे सारे interests हैं, even though I have looked towards like archaeology, for example, as a field in university, but I've more or less like kept them in as hobbies basically. So keeping this kind of stuff as hobbies, it doesn't let them die off, and you can actually like मेरे पास बहुत free time है, I guess also. I'm like even in this gap year where I'm sitting, I have nothing else to do. So I think uh,
I think you're the first scientist
I don't
to
know, but
tell
like
me.
I always find like time to do everything. I guess I'm good at multitasking or something, but I can always fit different things into my thing. Like I don't get focused onto one thing specifically and फिर उसी पे बस लगा रहा हूँ. Like if I
But
like
do you think somewhere this becomes a distraction to what you
no,
want
I
to
don't think
really
so
do?
because I kind of want to do all of this stuff. But the but as a distraction, I don't think so. If
Yeah.
you know like how deep you want to go into this kind of stuff, as you said, there's something known as photography theory even. So like, if I go into that, I think it'll become a distraction. But in a way, like
Yeah.
my interests,
Okay.
the way they function is that it's like a wave, like it's like seasons, I guess. They come and go in the year. Like एक आता है फिर दूसरे चले जाते हैं. Then for a time that remains. Yeah, so it
Phases.
like goes on and on. It doesn't like finish ever.
So I have this question. How is this photo technique going to help us in the future, and do you think it's important for Pakistan?
So this photography technique already like is being used for different aerospace prospects as well. Like shockwaves जो बनती हैं when a jet fighter goes flies, and wind tunnels may when they have to visualize the shockwaves. So they can basically use this the photography medium, the techniques called the shadowgraphy. They do use it. They use the sun as a background in that. I don't know how they do that. There are many more complicated systems, lenses and mirrors which they use to make that arrangement. But they use the sun as a backdrop, and they can visualize how air is moving around something which is flying in the air. So उससे वो सारी high speed aerodynamics and everything, they all visualize that kind of stuff. And recently I also saw, like if we talk about this corona pandemic, so उसमें they had made a promotional video about trying to tell people how far, when if someone coughs basically, then how far the cough actually goes. So for that they used वही मतलब shadowgraphy वाला setup. They put a big mirror and they put a guy in front of the mirror and they asked him to cough in front of it, and you can actually see the how the cough travels and everything
Okay.
उसमें. So I'm not really sure about the future, but it's already being used in many different sectors. This kind of stuff, this basic phenomenon, this kind of photography.
Right. लेकिन मैं आपके पॉडकास्ट में सुन रही थी कि and I want to know how Pakistani media did not cover it the way others did.
Uh, I don't understand. What do you mean?
Like I heard in your podcast that um, there was this very political statement by you know um, from India that Pakistanis don't produce scientists. So that's why I asked that why is it important for Pakistan? Because now that we have this, and now that you're also your ambition is towards the Nobel Prize, obviously this technique is going to go somewhere forward, right? So how come the media is not paying attention? Do you think in the future some institutes would want to take up this process? Because you're saying that a lot of this technique is used already, but the one that you have um, discovered is the one I'm talking about. Do you think it can be used somewhere in medicine, somewhere in other
Okay,
fields?
so I guess
And why and how, where do you think it is important for Pakistan? Because I did not see a lot of people talking about this in Pakistan, though I think it is a big deal. But
yeah, Pakistan, where like the media did cover it a lot, but like I guess you're talking about like other than the photography aspect of it, the main phenomena itself, which was presented in the research. So that phenomena, the electrical honeycomb, which is uh, that is something which has not been used much, and it's like pretty new as well. It's not new as in time, but like it's new as in इतना पता नहीं था लोगों को इसके बारे में. There were like a few papers about it, and there was not much understanding about it. But in terms of how, so basically what I did in the paper about the phenomena was that I kind of explained using that photography technique कि इसमें basically हो क्या रहा है and why is it happening, like what's causing it basically. इसमें the future aspects about it are it can be used in printing, it can be used in how drug delivery basically, because you're kind of manipulating a fluid using electric fields in that phenomena. So the phenomena itself actually ITU जो है international institute ITU जो है अल्फा क्रीम टावर में, I don't know the full form of it, but those guys did have a presentation on it, and I think they were doing some work forward upon the phenomena, but I didn't hear more after that. But this, like, it's a rare phenomena, and like it takes a while for these kind of things to become kind of like something which can be used for humanity itself. So in terms of how Pakistan media covered it, mashallah काफी cover किया था उन्होंने. Actually turned off my phone for a while to avoid their calls. But uh, Pakistani media, what it does is कि they just stick to one point, and फिर वो उस point को ना घुमा घुमा के they just kind of carry it forward, missing the main idea of everything. So I kind of got bored of them, and I didn't talk to them. But they have covered it a lot. Not accurately, but like they have done their part in whatever they could.
cool. Your friends are
Yes. And
ढेर सारे messages हैं. Everyone, if you have any questions for Shahir, please send in. तब तक हम थोड़ी और बातें करते हैं, और anything related to his photography, science, practice. He has a amazing page, Treasures of Pakistan. Everyone should follow that. Um, it's a collection of coins and stones. So
yeah,
yeah.
if you want, I can show some stuff here.
Okay. So हाँ हाँ, if you want to, you
I don't
can.
think internet comes in my room. Let's see. I don't know. Let's try, I guess.
We can try.
Actually, I have a bunch of old cameras lying around as well in my drawers. I don't know, but like this is like an old camera. I saw an older camera in your, I think your highlights.
Yeah, I also have
Yeah,
like
I'm
collection of
trying to
old
get a hold
cameras.
of those. My chachu has one which my grandparents used to use. Yes. Okay. Wait.
Okay, by then there is one question. After performing your experiments at LUMS, how long did it take you to type down your paper?
So, LUMS में हमारा experiment ended in like June of 2016, May, June of 2016. And उसके बाद I did more experiments later on in September, and then December में I went to Italy, and I remember I was writing the paper तब भी. So overall, I think it took like 1.5 years, like after, like including the time at LUMS as well. And LUMS का time निकाल दें तो I think 1 year in all of that. Cause like publishing a research, इसमें वो review processes होते हैं, and there's like it takes months in that, and they're pretty annoying as well with their critique, and they do take a lot of time as well. So I'll just show you some coins. My back camera doesn't work, so like the front camera will have to do. So like these are different coins like
Okay.
British India. Like I have a lot of different stuff here lying around, coins. And you can see most of them on my page as well. ये भी page पे
Nice.
हैं. ये लगाने हैं किसी दिन. There's some artifacts as well. Like I don't know if you can see this properly. Wait. Oh.
I can't see if there's something on it. Oh,
So this is
this
a
what?
this
इसमें
is
क्या बना हुआ
basically
है?
a trade seal. So like someone like I think 600 years ago wanted to send a package to someone else. So they had these clay seals where they used to stamp their face on, and they used to attach this to whatever they were trading. And yeah, it's still intact. It actually
Yeah.
it has the guy's face on it, and it
Nice.
also has a name written in some inscription. Yeah, which I
I
cannot
can see the
read.
face.
There's some more faces. So this is a piece of a pot terracotta. It's a rim. Also, someone's asking me,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
मेरे बालों को क्या हुआ? I have tied them up in a bun right now. So that's why my hair is like this.
Okay. Did the RSOS publish your paper instantly, or did they accept the manuscript first and then
हाँ,
publish
so
the journal?
RS, Royal Society of Open Science, which is the name of the journal, except उन्होंने I think 5 months के बाद कर लिया था, and then they publish it later on, I think a month or so later. And then उनकी official एक पूरे साल की copy निकलती है, which gets published in that even. So yeah, it doesn't take much time after acceptance to get it published. वो आ जाता है online because it's an open source journal. So सारा internet पे ही होता है. It's not like the one you have to pay for to get access to.
Okay, there's another question. In terms of your accomplishment, how has the response been from academics all over Pakistan?
Um, all over Pakistan, academics, I guess you're talking about universities. So it's not like universities email you and say कि हाँ भाई आ जाओ हमारे पास. You guys have to work hard for that as well. Applications still matter, and वो सारा formalities करनी पड़ती हैं. So yeah, I guess there's no response, and that's how it is and how it always is.
And you're cool with
Huh,
it?
like I guess it's fine, I guess. I don't know. It's not like
क्या कर
like वो
क्या
stories आप
कर
सुनते
इंटर
हो कि भाई इसको तो हार्वर्ड से ऑफर आ गई है ईमेल में खुद ब खुद like वो that doesn't happen. That's just
ऐसा कुछ
that's just utopian, like it's kind of a fantasy. I'll just show you one
हाँ,
more thing randomly. So this is also made of terracotta. This is what's known as a
क्या
mother goddess idol. So she represented fertility, and जो tribes वाले होते थे, they used to keep her pleased
yes.
in a way so
Hmm.
that they can stay.
It, what what
So this is
civilization
like
is this?
post Indus
Is
Valley.
this
So this is
in?
like the first millennium BC. So it's like
Yeah.
you can say it's 3,000 years old. This came from Charsadda. It has the same design as the Indus Valley की जो सारे sculptures होते थे. but they have made it a bit with their own
But
styles.
uh,
You're going to Jacobs. Yeah, Jacobs ka, uh, I'm waiting to see कि वो कितनी aid देते हैं and like how it works out. Then I will see if I want to go to Jacobs or not.
okay, one question. Okay, what are your future plans and where do you get these? They are rare. So what are your future plans and about the collection?
Future plans, about the collection.
No, future plans
अच्छा
about like
ठीक है.
other than the writing for the Nobel Prize, and then like where do you get the um, coins
Yeah, I
and other
buy
stuff
these
in your
off like
collection?
different people who are selling off their already built collections. कुछ लोग ढूंढ भी लेते हैं like metal detecting and stuff. But other than that, if you want something, you can head over to my page and check out some items which I have available. Other than that, everything is classified.
Okay, I think he heard you. And and what are your future
Yeah, अभी तो
plans?
future plans are to get into university. I don't know after that. I don't really think much about like stuff. But let's see. I don't know. Go with the flow. Let me show you something.
Do you think now this title of breaking Newton's record will stay with you for a
हाँ, I
while?
guess more than that title, बाकी चीजें हैं. Because that's not something which you can say is an official title. It's more of something which is
Yeah.
uh, media oriented.
Which
Yes. So
happened.
this is wait. This is the Radiance Weekly. So खाकसातरी का ये एक you can see a booklet, and it's
Oh,
dated
the movement.
February 6, 1943. So this is the original copy from 1943, and it is 2 annas only. And इसमें सारा उन्होंने अपना propaganda लिखा हुआ है, which is pretty interesting to read. I'll post this soon on my page as well. It's also in a pretty rough condition, but they had. Yes,
And
it's
is
in
it written
English.
in
इन्हें अपने
English?
14 points जारी किए हुए हैं. Look, 14 points of the Khaksar movement. It's all here. It's pretty interesting.
This
Yeah.
is so
And
interesting.
recently I also got this coin catalog. So it's a pretty old book which has different coins, key catalogs and catalog. So it's
Nice.
something which is essential. If you collect coins, you need to have catalogs as well.
Wow. So everyone, any questions? Any more questions? You should give some
So
attention to your
like
friends.
what basically is happening with NSK, this is like my second time going live ever.
Hello. Hello. Sorry, I think your internet is. Hello. Can't hear you. And your video is stuck. Hello? Hello? I can add you again. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the
Got it.
internet
You're back.
gave away.
Okay, cool. Uh, so let's take a last ish question. So when somebody wants to ask that they're going to publish a new theory, would you like to join?
I guess.
I think you're getting questions
Yeah, I
right. You
can see
can see the
them. How much
questions.
of your success do you think came from IYPT?
Yeah,
यार IYPT शुरू भी मैंने ही किया था, like with a bunch of friends and help from ComSets and then LUMS. So I guess it all started from starting IYPT more than IYPT itself. But IYPT is the International Young Physicist Tournament, so it's a competition, and it gives you good exposure into how research is done and how basically the scientific community works with researchers and कैसे आप अपना idea forward उनको बताते हैं and all that kind of stuff.
right. Okay, so I think that's for now. If you have anything to share, I'm done with my questions. And अगर कोई चीज़ है जो आप शेयर करना चाहते हो हमारे साथ तो आप शेयर कर सकते हो.
Hmm, I don't know.
Wasn't it Dr. Farida who started PYPT?
Ma'am Frida started PYPT. So PYPT it came after. PYPT is a local version of IYPT. So it's a national event जो होता है. And basically, mentorship, basically, it's called a license मिलता है from IYPT to whatever institution can hold PYPT. So initially, we were trying to give the license
Locally.
to our own school क्योंकि हमारी main team वहीं से थी. But then since Dr. Frida was our, you can say, our kind of, what do you call it, coach and team leader. So she gave it to ComSats first and then आगे पाक को वो चला गया. So yeah, PYPD का page भी मैंने बनाया था, but then they made another page. It's a complicated story. It's not relevant.
Let's take. Okay, I think this is going to be our last question. Can you please suggest students what to do if they want to excel in research and all?
Uh, to excel in research, ये किसने पूछा? Let me see 1 second. So,
I think this is coming on my comment thing. This is Saima
अच्छा,
Asgar
so
Awan.
to be good in research, it's not something like, I guess, that difficult. Like you need to have an element of improvisation. क्योंकि you're not like, especially being in Pakistan. So what happens is that you're not given everything which you can, and in many labs, even आपके पास हर वक्त there's always a limited budget for everything, and you don't always have everything you need to do something. Never, nothing is always given to you on a silver platter or whatever the metaphor is. So improvisation is a good thing, like to have when you do research because you can basically make do with whatever you have. Like improvise, जो main मैंने experiments किए थे like for the experiment with LUMS, that was all with professional equipment and stuff. But the thing which got my paper accepted was the telescope ka lens which I took out of my own, like of my telescope and put it on the carpet and used a pencil case as a stand. So improvisation helps a lot with research. And आगे फिर research में research itself, like you have to research to do research, like padna patta hai, do all that, read
Yes,
all the past articles, kind of understand what's going on, and it's a time-taking process. So उसमें सारा कुछ patience वगैरह भी आ जाती है.
right.
How did you understand mathematical equations? I don't understand mathematical equations. My paper was purely experimental almost.
Okay, Shahir, do you want to share something other than what we've discussed?
Hmm.
For people who are into science and want to pursue research,
For people who are into science, I'd like to say that
because a lot of people are going to listen to this session later on. So, just if there's something that you want to share.
yeah, mainly कि we think कि पाकिस्तान में इतना कुछ नहीं हो रहा in terms of science. But जो हो रहा है, we don't just see it because our media is like that. So like I went to different like institutes after my research got published, and I saw a lot of different things, and it kind of hit me कि मतलब काम हो रहा है यहाँ पे in physics and science as well. So one should not like kind of think कि यहाँ कोई scope नहीं है physics का. There is scope, maybe in the wrong kind of things, but like there is a scope of physics and science itself over here. So yeah, I guess that will be it for this kind of stuff.
Cool. Shahir, thank you so much for taking out time and also sharing your
Yeah,
collection with
but you're
us.
welcome.
We want to see more of it. Yeah, we can do a live session again and see
How we
more from
can
you,
do a live session
more
मेरे
from your
page पे,
collection.
like from that page, and talk about the collection some other day.
Yeah, that would be cool. I think I can also share my old camera collection, and then we can do like a
Yeah, I'll also get a
full on
phone. Like I think I'll use my sister's phone
vintage.
जिसका camera चलता है, the back camera, so it'll make it a bit easier to.
Uh, we'll do a vintage
My friend is asking why
live
it's
session
ending
on
इतनी
vintage stuff.
जल्दी. I guess we're out of things to say. That's why it's ending इतनी जल्दी. कितना
Uh,
time हो गया? I don't know. Like I think it's been a long time since we started at this.
yeah, and Insta has a video limit, so I want to finish it before it
Hmm.
just cuts off.
There's another thing, but I read your paper and
Yeah.
it shows that you use mathematical equations. हाँ वो formality होती है यार, maths add करना होता है उसमें थोड़ा सा. And you kind of have to state the previous mathematical theories in the paper, even if it's purely experimental. So that's something which is for the scientific community more than yourself actually. So yeah, I hope I understand mathematical theory sometimes. I am like not that bad at it, but then again, it's more complicated than it seems, especially in terms of whatever my experiment was. Yes, and my friends are also asking for clout. ले लो यार. Shout out to you all. Thank you for being on my live.
Yes. Um, yeah, there's some questions about your hobbies and plans. I think Shahir has already talked about it. So once we upload the video, you can go through the video and hear his plans and hobbies and all of that stuff.
Yes. Okay, it was fun being here
Yeah.
with you. Refreshing.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you for taking your time. I look forward to another live session with you and to share all the vintagey
Yes. Thank you
stuff.
for giving me the Instagram live experience as
So
well. I've not
everyone stay.
had much of a live experience before.
I am very familiar with it because I think we do it every weekend. So I'll stay in touch with you and we can do
Yeah,
something
there's
with
a,
you.
one last question. Why did
Like,
you choose the Royal
like,
Society? उस टाइम
like,
पे रॉयल सोसाइटी ओपन साइंस में sending a paper was free, so that is why I chose it. वरना they take a lot of money for $500 $600 लेते हैं for publishing a paper.